Good morning. How is your Friday doing? Welcome into Tommy Bites Homestead. You guys, breaking news, Don Lemon was arrested. Yeah, this is what's happening. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the lineup for 2026 this year. But with all the protests that were going on, what he did last week, a lot say he crossed the line with that protest and being a part of it and actually going into the church. So we're going to get into it and see what exactly they have charged him with. As you enter, please hit that like button, share the video out. Okay, so journalist Don Lemon was arrested in connection with an anti-immigration protest that disrupted a service in a Minnesota church and increased tensions between residents and the Trump administration. And this is according to his lawyers on Friday. Lemon was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he had been covering the Grammy Awards. His attorney said it is unclear what charge or charges Lemon is facing in the January 18th protests. The arrest came after a magistrate judge last week rejected prosecutors' initial bid to charge the journalist. Lemon, who was fired from CNN in 2023, said he has no affiliation to the organization that went into the church and that he was there as a journalist chronicling protesters. Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than that when he was as he always has done. Sorry, y'all. Lowell said in a statement, the First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. He also added that Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Attorney General Pam Bondi posted on social media Friday morning confirming the arrest of Lemon and 3 others who were present during the protest at City's Church in St. Paul, where a local official with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Service as a pastor. At my direction, early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon. Let's see. They also arrested Tahern Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamel Little Lundy in connection with the coordinated attack on city's churches in St. Paul, Minnesota, according to Pam Bondi. Since he left CNN, Lemon has joined the legion of journalists who have gone into business for himself, posting regularly on YouTube. He hasn't hidden his disdain for Trump, yet during his online show from the church, he said repeatedly, "I'm not here as an activist. I'm here as a journalist." He described the scene in front of him and interviewed churchgoers and demonstrators. See, what they're leaving out is, I saw that video and I was disgusted by it, because I feel it's one thing to protest, it's another to interrupt a church service. Like, they literally went into the church. They didn't just stand across the street. And of course, he was hyped about going from a video that they showed of him before it all happened, and him sitting in a vehicle and saying, well, maybe you should go first, to the other person he was talking to, because if they see me, then they'll know, and I'm not saying that he initiated this protest, but he did get a phone call from someone letting him know that they were going to go protest. Now, he says he did not know they were going to a church. He was just following, and that's where they ended up at. That being said, in my opinion, he should have kept the line drawn at the sidewalk and maybe not gone into the church. And he literally was pushing his microphone into one of the pastor's face, while other protesters were in there, scaring the children, fussing, cussing, and all of this. I mean, just in the church. So since he left CNN, Lemon has joined his legion. Okay, I read that. Shortly after the first attempt to charge him fell through, he predicted on his show that the administration would try again. And guess what? He said, "Here I am, keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. That's not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Just do it, because I'm not going anywhere. And I told y'all yesterday, you know, they are monitoring everything that people say and everything that people do, whether we realize it or not. And no, that should not make you shut up. If you see injustices happen, you should definitely speak out against that. That is your right to do so. I just personally draw the line at going into a church and disrupting that church and terrifying the people that were in there. They didn't know, you know, you have no control over what other people do. So you don't know if the people you're with are going to do something in that church or not. Now you're caught up. How many people go to jail now for being caught up with people they had no idea was going to go rob a bank or go rob a store or do anything illegal, and now you're caught up with it. So he's going to have to go through that process and prove, you know, that he was not in organizers what they're trying to make him into, which I don't think that he was. I do feel that he was wrong, though. So a prominent civil rights attorney and 2 other people involved in the protests were arrested last week. Prosecutors have accused them of civil rights violations for disrupting the city's church service. The Justice Department launched a civil rights investigation after the group interrupted services by chanting "ICE out" and "Justice for Renee Good," referring to the 37-year-old mother of 3 who was fatally shot by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. Listen loud and clear. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship, says Pam Bondi. City's church belongs to the Southern Baptist Convention and lists one of its pastors as David Easterwood, who leads an ICE field office. So that's why they picked that particular church, because one of the pastors actually leads an ICE office. And I remember them following him and a few others, even following a father who was with his children and his wife, following them, chanting and cursing at them. But asking the guy, how are you a pastor and you're leading ICE field, and you know, how are you doing all these things? I don't know. It's just the way that they did it. It was horrifying to see, because some of the kids were crying, you know. So many Baptist churches have pastors who also work other jobs. We get it. The Justice Department's swift investigation into the church disruption stands in contrast to its decision not to open a civil rights investigation into Good's killing by an ICE officer. The department has not said whether it will open a civil rights probe into the killing of 37-year-old Alex Preddy. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest. And this was said by Lau. And y'all, please let me know what you think. You know, we all have freedom of speech, but the question I have for you guys is, should that end at the sidewalk, or should they be allowed to go into the church and just disrupt church services, regardless of how they feel about the pastor that's in there or whatever? Were they wrong for taking it that far or not? So this is everywhere. So let's see.
Also breaking right now, I'm just getting this in to my ear and to our newsroom. Don Lemon has been taken into custody. That is according to a statement from his attorney, adding that the former CNN anchor was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles while he was there to cover the Grammy Awards. Lemon's attorney did not say what the charges are at this time. However, he was under federal investigation by the Trump administration for appearing at a protest in a church in Minnesota. So we're monitoring this news and situation carefully. We'll bring you any new updates as we learn them. Meanwhile,
so of course, we know that the administration is a petty administration. I will say that. If they dislike you, they're going to do whatever they can to get you. So giving them ammunition, I don't know, to aim it at you, I don't know. But he had a right to protest. He definitely did. But he said that he was there as a journalist But he was doing both. He was protesting and he was a journalist in the situation. So I don't know which way this is going to go, honestly.
Also breaking right now,
we are learning this breaking news that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested. Here's what we're learning. This is from Bill Malugin with Fox News saying, per multiple law enforcement sources, former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles this morning in connection to the storming of a church in Minnesota by anti-ICE agitators. We also do have some more social media posts as well that we'll put up on your screen here for you. But once again, as we just read there, this comes after Lemon followed and spoke to demonstrators who disrupted a church service in a video he posted to his YouTube channel. The New York Post also reporting that it is not immediately clear what charges he is facing at this time. This comes after former CNN host Don Lemon said during an interview last week that the Trump administration would go around a judge or retrofit a law to prosecute him after he followed agitators into a St. Paul, Minnesota church earlier this month. We are learning this breaking news that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested. Here's what we're learning.
So I'm trying to find a video where he was actually at the protest. Let's see. Here we go.
How do you feel about this?
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up. I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
You don't think this is peaceful?
It's trespassing. How would you feel if I went to your house and I started yelling?
I think these people would go inside of anybody's house.
Don Lemon has been warned by the Justice Department over allegations he joined a swarm of anti-ICE protesters who burst into a Minnesota church in the middle of Sunday service and accused the pastor of working with ICE.
A federal judge refused to sign off on charges against Don Lemon. One would assume it's because he did nothing wrong as a journalist covering a newsworthy event.
The Department of Justice is probing the demonstration at the church for potential violation of civil rights laws, specifically for interfering with Christian worshipers, according to a post on X. Harmeet Dillon, the Justice Department's Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, chided Lemon on social media. A house of worship is not a public forum for your protests. It is a space protected from exactly such acts by federal, criminal, and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. You are on notice, she wrote.
How do you feel about this?
I don't necessarily.
I do know that they said this is multiple years in prison, though, if these people are found guilty. And of course, they're going to make the most famous person a part of it. So here's some of the protests here.
Don Lemon and his left-wing mob just stormed a Minnesota church.
And they're making it his mob. Get it? He did not organize this. Okay, I will say that he did not organize this, but he was a part of it. And when you're the most famous person, it then becomes yours. This is why you can't lend your name to every single thing.
Church to protest ICE. The mob was seen yelling at the people trying to worship, calling them.
And this is him in the car where I was telling you where he was saying, you think they would recognize me or whatever, maybe you should go first, etc. Kind of leads to he knew at that time they were at a church, but he said starting off he did not know. They just told him that they were going to show up at a location and protest.
Fake believers enforcing the church to stop the service, causing worshipers to flee the building with their children.
He should have stayed right out there and just recorded it and interviewed people as they left, because I don't think he would be in as much hot water. But he has a right to protest and he has a right to speak his opinion on it. Is I think how they did it, and the fact that this administration doesn't like him anyway because he doesn't like the administration, and he makes that very well known.
Large group disrupted the Sunday service at City's Church in St. Paul, where David Easterwood serves as pastor. Easterwood is allegedly also the acting field office director for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in St. Paul, overseeing enforcement and removal operations across Minnesota and neighboring states. At one point during the disruption, the pastor was trying to calm down his congregation when Don Lemon began to continuously shove a mic in his face as he told him that the mob had a constitutional right to freedom of speech and protest. But storming a house of worship is actually not covered by the Constitution, and the Assistant Attorney General made a statement saying that the protesters will be investigated by the DOJ's Civil Rights Division under the FACE Act. Don Lemon and his left
Fox News alert journalist
Don Lemon has finally got.
Let me know what you think, because some people are for him being arrested and some people aren't. And you know, listen, don't play with God, in my opinion. Don't play with God, in my opinion. And you know, at one point, I think he asked that pastor something about being a Christian or something, and the pastor's like, "Are you a Christian or something?" He's like, "I'm a Christian."
What was coming to him. He done been arrested, y'all. You won't bamboozle, storm, and run up in the house of God no more. Huh? You messing with the right one now. That man up there, he don't play. It's more to come. Done.
That's how I feel. You know, I'm not saying he didn't have a right to do, you know, he has a right to speak his mind. Running up in the house, I was like, okay, that's a bit much.
Don Lemon and his
so disrespectful. So disrespectful.
Fox News alert journalist
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles on
Breaking news. Breaking news.
We have major breaking news right now. The United States federal government, the Trump administration, has arrested journalist Don Lemon. Donald Trump and his administration have long been trying to charge Lemon following him filming a protest at a church. A federal judge previously said, not enough evidence to do so, and rejected a criminal complaint. Well, it looks as though they may have received an indictment or gone to another magistrate judge of some sorts. His attorney, Abby Lowell, they just posted this on Don Lemon's Instagram that he has been taken into federal custody by agents. I'm going to continue providing updates. This is very serious because they're now openly arresting journalists in the United States of America. At the same time, overnight, Donald Trump is now claiming that Alex Preddy is a, quote, agitator and insurrectionist whose stock has gone way down as they continue to try to smear Alex Preddy. A lot of news right now. I'm going to break it all down shortly on my Substack, link in bio.
Well, we always know that the victim of a shooting, regardless of how it took place, is always going to be the one that's going to be the aggressor. Even if they were doing stuff that was illegal to do, I say you don't have to take a life for that. You know, if you have to use force, it doesn't have to be the person's life, but I'm not the one that's being faced with the danger. So that's just me speaking. Y'all let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Turn your notifications on. I will have other videos today, and get prepped up, you guys, if you're in the eye of this storm that's coming through. Okay. Y'all take care. Bye. And remember, I love you, but God loves you more. He created only one you. Be the very best you that you can be. And when you are, go out and spread God's love. Peace, love, and light. Thanks for being here on TOMMYBITES Homestead. Go on and subscribe now. Go on and subscribe.